Hi everyone and welcome back to more Analogue, a hate story. So we're going to get back to reading block 10. And then we're going to show the rest to try and get the next 36% or whatever. I'm saying 36 because I know it's not 100%. So, to the woman who will marry my husband, as you are doubtlessly aware, it is traditional for a nobleman's mother to write poetic admonitions to be sent to the bride-to-be before she enters the family, explaining the circumstances and proffering advice to her. Sadly, your mother-in-law has long since departed, leaving the responsibility in my hands. I never had any such letters sent to me, for reasons which I'll explain very soon, and have furthermore studied verse only well enough to know that I'm unable to write it well. I hope you do not think less of me, young pale bride, for addressing these letters as plain speech instead. Rather, pay attention to my words over my form, and please do not be hasty in erasing these letters after reading, for your own sake. I hope you'll find the advice knowledge I will impart on you useful. Yeah, like I said, I suggested she write them in straight prose. As to the reason why she didn't get anything from her own mother-in-law, well, that's kind of pretty complicated. And that's kind of some issues in the family there. You'll see what I mean if you read on. Oh, I will mute. Oh, I will. So let's have a look at part 2. Oh, I'm running out of space on the page to write these. To the woman who will marry my husband. As you are no doubt aware, the Ryu family has an extremely long and proud history. Every man to hold the title Captain Emperor has always been of our house, and you are here to make sure that continues for another generation. The name goes all the way back to the ancient times. Mythology speaks of Captain Ryu, who controlled of even the ship's movements through the stars themselves. Oh, back, when the ship was, properly a ship. Such things remain far removed from everyday life, but it is important to understand the significance of the house. This just reminds me of Voyager so much, And the title of your first son will eventually come to inherit. It sounds a kind of simplistic explanation. You have to understand, it's not really like anyone had a frame of reference to really get space travel. Even I sort of barely understand it, and I'm a ship computer. Imagine what it must be like for some barely educated woman in a society that doesn't really understand its technology, having only ever lived inside the ship. So a description of the captain and Emperor's role is, well, a little mythologizing. Okay, but it's pretty much accurate, right? That I had trouble with that word. Part 3. To the woman who will marry my husband. It is an obvious matter that I do have the same family name as my husband. The official story, if you've not already heard, is that we are cousins, making our marriage improper and less ideal, but somewhat acceptable given the circumstances. At the time, there were no noble daughters who had already not been promised or given away in marriage, and obviously a girl of any lesser upbringing could not possibly be suitable as a queen. Hence, cousins would simply have to do. Strictly speaking, this is all true. The part about there being not any noble daughters available is not a misrepresentation. As far as any official genealogy is concerned, the Emperor is the son of my father's brother. The part which we may not speak of openly is that he is the old Emperor's son only by adoption, but as far as blood goes, my husband is also my brother. As children, we never lived together, and it would, of course, have been strictly improper to have spent any time together at that age. That is a massive gap. I've never seen anything such as that my husband actually arranged for me there to be no noble daughters to marry, out of his desire to marry me. That would, of course, be a rather bold move to accuse an emperor of such. But you may wish to consider the implications might be if such a thing truly did happen. Leave it to you to decide whether or not such a thing is plausible. All I will say is that despite our marriage being one of necessity, my husband has always been very fond of me. Okay? Yeah, okay. What she's suggesting, that's gross and wrong, and definitely I don't think a bold move even begins to cover what she's saying. I feel bad saying this. I liked her. We were really close. She was a good woman. But my real master was the Emperor, and it would be a disservice to give her a pass on this. She was way over the line here. I think it's damned irresponsible of her to even consider telling Pale Bride that. Why would she even need to know? Anyway, I don't even buy the implication. I don't think it's even true. I don't know if you've noticed, but the Makunga's birth rates are, well, it's not good. They'd been bad for generations, but they were just getting worse and worse. Among noble families, they weren't even at a replacement rate anymore. That is something. You know, I thought I was safe. That is my third lot of posts today. So, yeah, I thought after 2, you know, it was literally like, knock, knock, go answer the door. Okay, got the post, go upstairs, put my foot on the top landing, doorbell rings, throw the packages on the floor, run back down, different delivery person, different package, come back up, went out for a haircut, come back, start recording the second episode today, more post. How much post am I going to get today? I do not know. Anyway, she's got no idea why nobody wants to acknowledge why the birth rate was declining. So what I'm saying is, even ignoring the fact that he wanted and her suggestion is just wrong, I don't think the Emperor would contrive it, so there weren't any noble daughters of proper age. The simple fact of the matter is, that sort of incest ended up being necessary, and apparently didn't help since she couldn't even deliver a son anyway. No awful and inappropriate theories are necessary. Fair enough. So, part 4. To the woman who will marry my husband. As for responsibilities, your burden will be quite light. You will of course expect to be the model of feminine virtue, but truthfully, I do not expect you'll be very much trouble with this. You'll have very much trouble with this. As long as you keep your head down and avoid scandal and keep quiet, that will more than suffice. So far as the day-to-day is concerned, you will have nothing to concern yourself with, as this is the royal family you're marrying into. As Queen, I run the management of the house's affairs and will not require any assistance from you in that regard. As part of the royal concubine's demonstration of modesty, you will have to share my own personal servant and will not have any of your own. While you will not have to be responsible for all housework, be modest and do not remain idle at her expense. You are expected to be as unseen as the servants and to be voiceful only in the most moderation. Do not speak harshly to your servant and be appreciative of what she does, and not incompassionate. Your one sole responsibility will be spending as much time with the Emperor as it takes to produce a son. After you give birth, you will not need to worry about raising him. I'll be there to make sure that is all arranged for. Simply make our husband happy, keep out of sight, and give him a son, and you'll have no more to worry yourself with. Well, that sounds like an easy life. The pale bride, one thing, you never had to worry about speaking out of turn. Really, at the time she seemed like the perfect virtuous girl, right up until she snapped at the end. I know, how do you reconcile that, right? How can somebody seem so close to being the pinnacle of feminine virtue then turn out to be someone so completely messed up? I still don't get it, not even slightly. Well, in one of these endings, I'm sure you'll find out. Let's have a look at part 5. To the woman who will marry my husband. The virtues which you are expected to demonstrate are simply those expected of any woman, and given your noble upbringing, I will not condescend to treat you as if you do not already know them quite well. You are expected to be quiet and obedient, to me as well as, obviously, to our husband. Perchance you were scolded. Trust my judgment as your elder, I will never act out of anger or spite. If scolded by our husband, you'll always respond with a smile. For your relationship must always be warm, and he is a wise man. I do not, however, anticipate things will be problems. He told me of the interview in which he spoke to you and had nothing to report at all on your manner of speech, so I will trust it was entirely proper and polite. In light of that, I will say nothing further of the matter. As far as ritual obligations go, you will have none, save for following in my lead. Both your mother and father-in-law are long dead, so you have no further obligations to them. I had trouble adjusting at first, but I anticipate nothing you could be surprised by. She's got nothing to say. Part 6. Mute. To the woman who will marry my husband. I will not tell you to avoid court politics entirely, so long as you do not cause trouble. But I will suggest that you simply watch from a distance. The temptation may exist to meddle, especially if you ever talk to the artificial girl Mute who lives inside our computer. She's a gossip and from the Smith noble family, and is responsible for revealing much of what they tried to keep hidden. She may seem fickle, but she does belong to the House of Ryu first and foremost, and is quite loyal. Aww. Nevertheless, meddling is not in your best interests. Do not play politics, not only for our sake, but the sake of being a virtuous wife, but the sake of your own family as well. They will receive favour not through any scheming on your part, but through our husband's will. Entertain yourself with gossip if you wish, as long as you keep quiet about it and stay out of politics. In the end, you'll manage to go much farther if you rely on rewards for being a good wife. Wow. She's writing what she instructed the pale bride, but man, I don't really agree with her assertion there. I wasn't a gossip. Look, yeah, I'm a social creature, of course, that's my job. I'm glad that my mistress valued me, but I really don't like the way she's characterising me as some chatty, gossiping woman. I was always better than that. I wish she'd have realised it. Oh, Mute. Oh. Sorry, Mute. I'm so sad. So have I already read part 7 then? Yes, I've already read that. That was ages ago. Pale Bride's Marriage. Last one in this section. My fear of the Pale Bride, it seems, was unfounded. In my letters to her, I wrote that I was not jealous. A lie, of course. As a queen, it's true that I have authority over any of my other husband's wives, but my husband's other wives even. That authority does certainly not extend to his affections, especially since she's a beautiful woman of only 15 years and I'm a withered old lady 20 years her senior. 35 is not old. I'd be a fool not to be jealous. And yet, I'm not. She's officially married to my husband. I had only seen her briefly at the formal interview. Aside from her beauty, she'd made hardly any impression. But now she's living in my house, and I have seen more of her, while she's not busy attending to the Emperor, and I realise now I have no cause for jealousy that any fault of hers. That is any fault of hers. Jealousy isn't her fault. She hasn't spoken a single word to me and only looks at me from a distance. At first, I mistook this for arrogance, as though she thought me unworthy of approaching. I realise soon that is not so. I see no smugness in her eyes, nor do I see happiness or sadness or anything else. She is afraid of me. Not the sort of fear that would show in her eyes, the sort of fear that would paralyse or leave her on edge. It is hardly noticeable at all, and yet I can tell. Her fear is that of resignation. The sort of fear where one simply waits for what one believes is inevitable, whatever it is she thinks I will do to her. She is not afraid that I will be jealous. She knows it, and she's simply waiting for the consequences. I cannot be jealous of a woman like that. I feel for her. I want her to feel welcome. I want her to feel the hope she has clearly lost back. It is not out of jealousy that I say earnestly. I want her to understand how lucky she is. When I last saw her, I took her aside and said, "Please, you do not have to fear me. If you ever wish to talk to me, please, do fire me." She said nothing, but she did smile a little. I've seen her smile before, but only in a hollow way where the mouth moves but no emotion stirs in the eyes. That was not that kind. I can hardly say what the twinkle in her eyes meant, but at least I don't think it was resignation. I do hope she means to talk to me soon, for her own sake. Oh, sad. Well, I think that's no new things. So, save. And let's go back and let's get some young Ai back in on the action. How do I no, that's not what I meant. I'm just so used to clicking that now. I haven't swapped AIs in so long. Sorry, Mute. You're done. Disable AI. Enable AI. Start. Young. No, that is completely wrong for one thing. But no, she does have a G at the end of her name. Young. Is that right? Doesn't look right. Maybe it doesn't need the star at the start. Enable AI. At least it knows what I'm trying to do. No, there wasn't a G. I must have like just glanced up and seen like a mistyped thing. And was like, that must be how you spell it. Which is obviously not right. Oh, I forgot you were wearing that lab coat. I love that lab coat. Right. Let's start showing you all the stuff that we tried to show before. So block 3, laughable situation. You have something to say on this. The matters about the Smith family now. It's news to me. I mean, when I was live, I didn't even know the Smith family existed. Well, maybe Jay Hua mentioned them once, but I didn't really remember. It's been 600 years, but I don't think she did. I really wish I'd known about Sojin at the time. I really do. So what do you think? Are you satisfied with that overview? Yeah, why not? Oh well, that's good. So what do you think of them? I don't know what Kim Sam said, so yes. I don't even know what I'm agreeing to right now. I don't have a clue what I just said to her. But yeah, I've shown her that one now. Proper damn gentleman then. This is... Oh, I don't even remember. This is about him, I think this is about him marrying someone else. Or looking after someone else's child. I really don't know how to feel about him. I don't know. It really doesn't sound like anybody thought he was a very good person. It looks like he never married or anything. I suppose he was friends with Mute. Well, that doesn't surprise me. He seems weird. Like, it sounds like Sojin was kind of off-put by him. And I don't really blame her. I know... oh, yeah. He is. This is the guy who was married to the woman who fell in love with his concubine. But he also took in, like, his brother's offspring and, like, the prostitute that he slept with to try and spare his brother's name, even though it meant, like, you know, he was suffering a little bit from it. I don't know. I have no idea how to judge him. See for yourself, I guess. I've added a few more things about him. Yes! More stuff. Good. You know why that's good? Because now we have slightly more information unlocked. Let's save. How much percent? 61% still. Really? You promised me that you'd unlock some stuff for me. You promised me that. Right, so what's this about? So I think this is the courtesan taken in while she's pregnant. Courtesan. I always say that. So High Magistrate Smith Sang-min, huh? This man is just, wow, he's a real piece of work. He could not keep his pants on, it seems. I mean, neglecting his wife so he could get a courtesan pregnant? Wow, what kind of a man does that? Please tell me you feel the same way. Yeah, I do think he's awful. I know, right? I think a lot of the people in that society was awful, actually. The idea of a woman living only for her man is awful, just awful. But there's one way to make that worse, for a man to just ignore her entirely. Can you imagine living like that? Just being kept away in the women's quarters with nobody to care about you in any way. I don't think a marriage is worse than mine, but at least I had something. And I didn't have to worry about the scandals about to blow up in the family's face. There's one good thing that comes about in the Emperor's Consort, I guess. So all he ever paid attention to was women who weren't his wife. All he ever paid attention to was women who weren't his wife. There we go. And all of his assorted business. Here, I'll show you what that is. Looking at this, it feels like he spent more time with his brothers than his wife. Okay? So you've shown me daughter. What about I'm sorry? Do you have anything to say about that? You don't, so it doesn't really matter if I don't remember what that's about. What about Nola? That I don't think. I think that's one that you've already. Apparently, the visit one is next. Anyway, and yes, you actually do have something to say about this. Oh, this was the actual father of the child coming to visit, and her not wanting to let her in because her husband wasn't home. Him in, even. I'm really sorry, please don't get mad, but I really don't understand what you're looking for. I'm just not getting it, and it's my fault, but I can't find anything that seems relevant. Sorry, you're the one who said that you wanted to say something new. Okay? You're the one who got my hopes up there. Legendary temper from a clerk. This is him yelling because the guy hadn't admitted to the thing, and so he was like, hey, you're not doing your job properly. And you're saying the same thing again. Right, drunk to death. You have nothing new to say on this, that's okay. That is block 3, completely done and looked at. Let's have a look at block 2 then. So, this is the love affair between the two. She does have something to say about it. What do you have to say? So you've read those then? Yes, I have. Not that it was seen appropriate for two women spending time with anyone other than women or anything, but why are you showing this to me? To hear what you think. Do you approve of that sort of thing? Yes, I do. I see. Well, when she said she wanted to be seduced, I can definitely understand that, especially if it was you. Ooh. Especially if someone I really liked. I didn't even click and it filtered through that. It was, ooh. So it's a good thing to me. Not that I could really imagine doing that with any of my servants, but Geez, why are we even talking about this? It's embarrassing. Can we please talk about something else? I thought you liked being embarrassed. I thought that's why you like to dress up. I'm guessing that you're not really going to have anything to say on the rest of these either. But no, apparently you do. I said I didn't really want to talk about this anymore, alright? Really? Then why did you have coloration in your face you don't there? I'm guessing that you're pretty much done with all of these. We are going to finish block 2, and then I think that is enough. Did I already just click on this one? It's very distracting. Trying to talk and click at the same time, apparently. Anyone would think it's a game, and I'm LPing it a little bit. Well, it's more of a visual novel. Yeah, and I think we are done for this episode. So we've completely cleared block 3 and 2. Next episode we'll work on showing her block 4 and 9, and then maybe we'll get to ask her some of Meet's questions. You never know. So I'll see you another time. Bye bye.